Earlier this week, the U.S. Senate failed to advance the Republican stimulus bill to address some of the economic impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. It comes 4 months after House Democrats passed their $3 trillion plan. The Senate version was narrower and would have cost about a tenth of the House's proposal. It would have provided $300 in extra weekly unemployment benefits, but did not include another stimulus check for individuals. Many experts are saying it is likely any additional conversations about economic relief might be put on pause until after the November election. Here to talk more about this is Alfredo Ortiz, President and CEO of Job Creators Network. Good morning.
Good morning, Allie. How are you?
I'm doing well, and this is such a topic. I know that you guys are all about educating voters, but tell me first of all your initial response to the fact that this was, pretty much they're saying dead on arrival, that they weren't going to get this passed.
Yeah, shame on the Democrats. They were all talking about for months about helping the American public and doing the right thing. And here was a targeted bill that came exactly to do that. The $300, per week unemployment benefit that you just mentioned, Paycheck Protection Program extension, which, by the way, an incredible program that saved over 51 million jobs, Allie, in this country. 51 million. 5 million, over 5 million small businesses benefited from. Average check size, I think, was about $100,000. An amazing program. It was extending that. And then the very important liability protections for businesses, right, that really out of no fault of their own, somebody could have come in somehow and protracted the COVID really out of no fault of their own. Really important and targeted ideas and programs to be able to get that extra bump to those who needed it most. And absolutely, they did not do it, the Democrats. They are more concerned about politics. If you go down the list of things that were really critical for American businesses and for just overall hardworking Americans, right? It was all there. But the one thing it wasn't going to do, it wasn't going to help them defeat Donald Trump. And that's the only reason, Allie, that they didn't vote for it and didn't get it over the finish. So shame on the Democrats for not helping out.
This was very streamlined, slimmed down even is what some people were saying.
I love saying targeted, targeted.
Yes, targeted, specific to help a lot of small business owners. Is this just posturing that they're doing? Why not help the people?
This is what honestly has made it such a sickening thing, dealing with folks on the Hill, especially on the Democrat side, because it's all rhetoric, right? It's all posturing on their part. Pelosi wanted her $3.5 trillion Christmas bill, basically that had all these different things to help all these different, states and stuff like that with unfunded pension liabilities and all these things that, quite frankly, didn't really have anything to specifically do, with the COVID crisis and helping small business owners, especially. Which, there are over 30 million small businesses out there. Look what's happening in New York, Allie. This is preposterous. Did you know that they're estimating 60% of restaurants, eateries in New York may go out of business by the end of the year because of these draconian measures that the mayor there and the governor have imposed?
And that's the biggest question. We don't want there to not be individual small businesses, individual restaurants. You don't want it all to be corporations. But what happens now? What's the next step? What can businesses do at this point?
Look, it's a really tough time. The other thing too, unfortunately, we've got a very, very small window. Basically, we have Monday to do this. A lot of folks who did receive the Paycheck Protection Program, the Treasury has decided that the expenses related to, deductibility on certain expenses that would normally have happened, they're not going to be able to do that. The net effect, I don't want to get too wonky in this, but the net effect on this, Allie, is it basically makes now the proceeds of the Paycheck Protection Program for the small businesses effectively taxable income. And many of these businesses didn't realize that going into it. So September 15th is a filing deadline. We need to push at least the payment portion, at least the way it had happened earlier in the year. We need to at least give folks another 3 months to be able to figure out how they're going to bring the cash together. Because again, these small businesses are really hurting now, and it's across the country. From California all the way to New York, from Washington State down to Florida. I mean, there are some states that, thank God, are opening up these restaurants and the eateries and stuff like that. But, the biggest and worst hit is the hospitality industry. And that's where a lot of the jobs are still hurting. Thank God we have 10 million jobs, though, have already come back, roughly a 50% drop in the unemployment rate from its peak during the summer. We got to keep on doing more to help these small businesses out, Allie.
Yeah, and I think that $300 that could have been added to the unemployment as well.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of hairdressers, specifically in California, they were using that extra little bit to help them get by. Now as things open up, hopefully, but you still got people who were fighting and using that unemployment.
Yeah, that's right. And even that's a great point. That $300 was, I think, a very reasonable compromise from the $600 that was out there, which I have to tell you, in talking to small business owners, there are literally hundreds of small business owners from coast to coast again on this. This was a major issue for them bringing workers back to work. You see, it was an enormous drop, almost 2 points on that unemployment, because once those unemployment benefits expired, people had to get back to work, because under that $600 idea, people were getting paid more to stay home unemployed than to work. And so, I think that $300 was reasonable. It was the right thing to do. But again, shame on the Democrats for not coming to the table and doing the right thing for the American public. We should really call them on this.
Yeah, definitely very frustrating. And thank you for providing some insight, because a lot of businesses are hurting because of this.
Yeah, and now I just got one last request. When am I going to be able to do these down in San Diego with you guys? Because those weather reports are unbelievable. I'm out on the East Coast, and I sure would love to be on the West Coast right now.
Yeah, I am telling you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Alfredo, for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Allie. Bye.